Hi everybody, it's Jama Mommy. Thanks for joining me for another card making video. This is a video that's adding on to the creative design team's Love Your Stash challenge. We had so much fun with that challenge, and I know you guys did too, that we decided to do a small monthly feature with part of our design team. And so that's what I'm doing today. Now, I'm using some current products. First of all, this rainbow die set. And this was the one thing from the current catalog that I had to have. There are lots of amazing things in this catalog, but this really spoke to me, and I'm really excited to show you what I'm doing with it today. And I pulled out scraps galore. Some of these are old paper sampler papers, scraps from leftover paper packs. I mean, there's probably like 15 old paper packs represented here. And I pulled out lots of bright colors because I wanted to make some really bright rainbows. And what I'm going to do is basically cut these all down using the rainbow die and show you some tips to get the most out of your paper when you're cutting this. I'll show you a couple other paper packs I found in my stash that I was really excited to find. This one is at the time was one of my very favorites. I don't even remember the name of it. So if you know, leave it in the comments below. But I thought that this might be fun for grass, or it's just a good green color, and then you've got orange on the other side. So a lot of your pattern papers can do double duty. And then look at these clouds. I thought this might be fun for a background. And I may even use the back side because that is just a monochromatic cloud background. This one has a little bit of orange. So we'll see how that works out. And yeah, so I was excited to find that paper pack. And I was also excited to find this paper pack. This was, this has zip strips, Taste of Summer. This was a special. And what's cool about this paper pack is that there's a really bright color on one side with a fun pattern on the other. So I thought all of these fun patterns, or kind of patterns, solid patterns, will be perfect for this technique. So really I could have just pulled out this paper pack and just worked from this to create all my rainbows, but you know, I had fun digging through all of my scraps. That was really fun. So we'll see what I end up using. So now that I have all of my scraps cut down, I am going to die cut them. And what I've done is put the dies together so that they're like one die. All of the rainbow arches, all four are together, and I'm going to run them all together on the die cutting machine to make it a lot easier. So I'll just go like this, and that way I'll have four arches when I'm done, and I'm just going to have a whole bunch of arches out in front of me, and I'm going to mix and match them, and you don't have to worry about making sure that it starts with red, orange, yellow. You know, you can mix and match them. This way I'll get more out of my dies and more out of every pass through the die cut machine. This really lets you get the most out of a little 3x3 piece of scrap paper. So I'm gonna go ahead and run it through my Spellbinders die cutting machine. With everything that's cut here, and these ones where I have the colors separated, that is from that Taste of Summer pack, where I could have just done all my cards with these, but I wanted to play with more scraps. I found this pattern paper, I believe it was from the Dream Pop paper pack a long time ago, and some coordinating cardstock that has a UV coating that goes with it. And since it's a small pattern, I thought it would be fun to make some rainbows with that patterned paper and some coordinating cardstock to go with it. So I have a pile of all of those that coordinate. And then this is my big pile of most of the other ones, most of which coordinate together, and I can just pull from these as I want and kind of build my rainbows. And then I cut some clouds as well out of specialty paper. There's some silver glitter paper. This is a white pearl paper. I don't know if you can see that pearlescence in the camera. And then I have some white pearl paper, some holographic paper, and let's see, we've got vellum, So I thought it would be fun to use some specialty paper with the clouds. And then finally, I pulled in some die cuts that I already had cut and stamped in my stash. This this unicorn is from the Unicorn Dreams stamp set, which is still available. And by the way, all stamps this month are on sale. So go ahead and check out the link below if you're interested in any of the stamp sets I'm using, or if you just want to check out all of the stamp sets that Close to Hair offers, because they're all on sale this month. And then the cloud and this hot air balloon and the sun are all from this Beautiful Day stamp set. And every single piece in here has a coordinating die, except for these little pieces because they are the centers of the flowers. So those are what I just pulled from my stash. I didn't even stamp them or cut them or anything this time. They were already there. So really, truly pulling from my stash for this project. All right, so let's go ahead and assemble some cards. For this first card, I'm going to pull from that paper pack I found with the cloud and grass looking paper. I think this might be called Splendor. If you know, then confirm that in the comments below because I would love to know. It's from one of those paper packs that before there were zip strips, so I don't have the name on them anymore. Anyways, this sky background is a lighter blue, and most of the rainbow arches I cut were a aqua lagoon color. So I didn't use a blue, and because I didn't want them to kind of clash. So I'm going to put this green down as the grass, and then I needed kind of a border in between these two patterns, so I used some glitter paper cut to a thin strip, and then another pattern from those scraps that's sort of a white with a gray neutral pattern on it. And so those are going to be sort of little just separators, and then the arches, the rainbow is going to sit right on top of those. Now this glue is almost gone and I shook it up and it just kind of exploded on me, unfortunately, but I'm going to try to use some of that for these arches. And I'm going to clean that up before it sticks to my mat permanently because this glue likes to stay tacky. So I'm going to finish up all of these arches and glue them all down. And then I thought that I'd pull one of those little suns, and I thought that kind of completed the sky. And then I pulled the vellum and the pearl clouds. Now the vellum, I ended up layering underneath the pearl clouds so that I could glue them down and have somewhere to put the glue, and they would be hidden behind those pearl clouds. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and layer them up. And I like the look of the vellum. It just gives it kind of a soft look and just kind of an extra layer to the card. I could have stopped here, but then I decided I needed a sentiment. So I pulled out this May stamp of the month, and I'm loving all of the various sentiments in this set. There's a lot of different sizes and great sentiments that go with rainbow and bright cherry cards. So I ended up going with this Just Because sentiment because it is the smallest one and I didn't leave a whole lot of space for a sentiment. I wanted to stamp it on that white background. And as I was doing it, I thought, oh, I better be careful so I don't get anything on those clouds. And I got a tiny little black speck on the clouds. So I covered it up with a jewel. That's not where I would have put a jewel, but you know what? It works to cover up that little smudge. I put the sun on some 3D foam, and we've got our cute little first card finished. So for the second card, I wanted to do it really clean and simple. And I pulled out this Every Bit of Wonderful stamp set. And this is a great stamp set because not only does it have some beautiful florals, it has really great sentiments as well, and they're bigger. So I wanted to use this sentiment as sort of a base to anchor my rainbow. And then I'm just going to keep the rest of it very clean and simple. So if you're not familiar with this Every Bit of Wonderful stamp set, it is the Operation Smile stamp set that's available all year round, and $7 of the proceeds go toward Operation Smile, which is a nonprofit that provides surgeries to children who have cleft lip and cleft palate and need life-changing surgeries to help them eat and drink and just be a normal kid. So it's a really great cause, and it's one of close to my heart's. It's the nonprofit that they support, and they are always trying to raise money in very wonderful, creative ways to give to Operation Smile. So if you do purchase this set, just know that you are truly helping some kids in need. So once I got those arches down, I used some fun foam and just cut a piece to size to stick on the back of that panel. By the way, I cut a bunch of panels down to 4 by 5 1/4, so that they'd be just a little bit smaller than a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 note card, and there would be a little bit of a border. And I really like the look of the raised panel on top of the note card, and gives just kind of an extra little something. I added a few glitter gems to finish it off, and I really like how this bright cherry card turned out. So on to card number 3. This is where I'm using those Dream Pop papers. And even though rainbows are normally, rainbow colors, I'm keeping these more like pinks and oranges. And I think that it looks really pretty. This color palette ends up being gorgeous. And this is probably my favorite of the 4 cards that I'm making. Actually, there's 5 cards. There's a bonus card at the end that I'm going to show you as well. So I pulled out some of the cardstock from this pack to coordinate with the rainbow. I didn't like just all the solid colors. So I pulled out some glitter paper to add a little bit of bling as well, and I like how that looked. And so I decided to layer those to kind of anchor that rainbow. I think it would have looked really great to use a sun, but that yellow was the wrong color yellow. And I really didn't want to have to stamp and die cut again because I had already prepared all of my pieces. So I'm just working with what I've got out in front of me right now. And I love doing that. I love preparing a bunch of stuff or just pulling out a bunch of die cuts that I've already got and just working from that. And it really makes the cards come together quite quickly. I spent probably 2.5 hours making all of these cards, 5 cards, but I was doing a lot of stuff in between that, and I just kept my camera rolling. But I was helping my husband with some stuff he needed for work, and heated up my lunch, and it was just doing all kinds of stuff while I was doing this. And so I think 5 cards in that period of time is pretty good, and that also includes die cutting all of the rainbows that I did and all of that. So it's really fun when you have a die set like this where you can just cut out a whole bunch of stuff ahead of time all at once and just pull from it to create these card designs. I did have some sketches in front of me as well from the Make It From Your Heart book, and I didn't follow them exactly, but I used them as guidelines to kind of jumpstart my mojo. And that's always a great way to start your cards when you just kind of need a little jump start, or when you're just starting out and not sure the direction you're going to go. And the Make It From Your Heart books are great. There's one for card making and scrapbooking, and then the brand new one, Volume 5, is for scrapbooking and card making. And it gives you great sketches to work from. So these little dot stamps are from the Stamp of the Month for May, and I thought they were just kind of fun to sprinkle around. And then I used my clear shimmer brush to add just a little bit of sparkle splatters. And then I pulled out these flamingo enamel dots from way back in the day as well to add a few more little pops of color around the card. And I really, really like how this turned out. And all of that just from some arches that I cut and some scraps that I pulled out and some stamped images that were already done for me as well. So on to card number 4 rather. I was really excited for this idea. I pulled out the 3 smallest size arches in 5 or 6 different colors, and I just put them around the card base kind of randomly, sort of like the idea of random stamping, but I did random die cut gluing. So I just put them sort of in a pattern. So you'll see as I go on here, I have I have them basically going sideways in sort of rows. And I think that it looks so cool. So I created kind of a random pattern just by laying the die cuts down and gluing them down. So that was really fun. And then as I got to the edges and had bigger pieces that I was cutting off, I could actually reuse them like I am here to glue onto the other side in some smaller spots. I got a little glue oozing out of those rainbows because they're so skinny, and so that rub and remove eraser really helps to get some of those glue areas off of your card base. I'm using another larger sentiment from the Every Bit of Wonderful stamp set because that's going to be one of the focal images of this card. And then I'm also going to pull in one of those unicorns. I thought that the colors were close enough, but they weren't quite right. It was peach instead of like a orange, and then a light blue instead of an aqua. So you'll see in a minute how I am going to fix those colors that were already colored. But I'm going to cut this sentiment down first, and I stamped it in archival black ink, which does tend to take a little bit longer to dry. So I had to kind of shake that and let that dry before I handled it and cut it down. So I put it onto some glitter paper, and then now I'm going to just color right over what I already colored with a more aqua marker to turn that light blue into a darker aqua color and match my card better. And the alcohol markers are really forgiving and really good for this because they'll just continue blending with each other, even though I did it a long time ago. And then I'm adding just a little bit of pale pink to the peach to make it more of a pinky peach and match the pink that's on there already. Now it's time to decide what color I want backing it. I was just going to do it white on the white note card, but I really wanted to have another pop of color or pop of something. I was thinking maybe I want a little bit of black. And then I decided I want a little bit of black to kind of help that background pop. But when I cut this down, it was still just not feeling quite right. It would have looked lovely. I could have done this and it would have looked perfectly good. And I was just about to, but I got the glue down and thought, you know what? This isn't quite right. And I had the idea to sponge some black ink on my embellished panel. So I just took a little sponge dauber and my black ink, and I very lightly put some black ink around the edges, and that gave it just a little bit of pop that it needed and was able to show more of the yellow because that's what I wanted more showing. So I really like how that ended up in the end. I put some thin 3D foam tape on the back of the sentiment, so the thin 3D foam tape doesn't pop up quite as far as some other foam tape. And now this foam tape, which is left over from some of my shaker windows, is a regular foam tape that does raise up higher. So I've got two levels of dimension here. The the unicorn is popped up just a little bit higher than the sentiment. And what unicorn is complete without a little shimmer? So I added the shimmer brush to all of the mane and tail and horn pieces, and then I called this good. I didn't even add any rhinestones or anything, which is so unlike me, but there was already a lot going on and I didn't want to take away from that beautiful rainbow background. So you can see that shimmer there, and here is a close-up of that card. So I'm going to give you a close-up look at all 4 cards here. Here's number 1. And then we've got our clean and simple number 2. I really like the colors from that one paper pack on that rainbow. Here is number 3. Really like that. I actually really like all of these. And then our final one with the unicorns, just so cute. And now I've got a bonus card to show you. I decided to use up all of those clouds that I cut and just glued them all on the background, splattered some blue Belle shimmer brush on there, and added another rainbow. and I still have all of these arches left over for more projects. So I hope you enjoyed this video today and that you got some ideas to use your scraps. You can pull out any scraps that you have in your stash. It doesn't have to be from the same paper packs or anything. Be sure to check out the rest of the creative design team that's participating in this bonus Live Your Stash challenge. I will link everybody's videos down in the description below. And next up is Erin tomorrow. If you haven't already subscribed and liked my video, I hope you will do so and consider leaving a comment. All of those things really help my channel and help tell YouTube to show my channel and my videos to more people. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.